It's the final lesson of A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams. It's Mrs. Bart, and I'm really pleased to be able to take you through this final overview, this time focusing on how to use critical opinion in your essays. For today's lesson, you'll need all the usual equipment, but you'll also need the resource attached to show my homework on literary criticism. Today's learning objectives are to practice commentary on literary criticism and to review our understanding of the play in the light of a fresh interpretation. Both of those relate to Assessment Objective 5. Press pause if you need to grab any of the equipment on this slide if you don't have it to hand. This is also a reminder to turn off your notifications or to turn off your phone completely and leave it in another room so that you can focus on the learning of this lesson. It's time for your Do Now, which is a free recall activity. For this, it helps to have a sheet of blank lined paper, clean lined paper. As each key aspect comes up, press pause for 30 seconds to 1 minute, and your job is to write as much as you know about that key aspect. Let's begin. First of all, the character, Steve Hubble. The place, the Flamingo Hotel. Press pause for 30 seconds to 1 minute. The theme of sex. Press pause again. The sound of the locomotive. Again, press pause for 30 seconds to 1 minute. The dramatic device of lighting effects. The symbol of alcohol. The event of Blanche and Stella's night out. The music of the Varsoviana polka. It's time for some exploration work. The first thing I'd like you to do is to read C.W.E. Bigsby's A Critical Introduction to 20th Century Drama 2008 Critical Opinion that's on your literary criticism resource. When you've done that, unpause. Pick out 1 or 2 short phrases which you might use in an essay to develop an argument. How does it give you fresh knowledge or information that's useful in helping you understand the play? How does it further develop your interpretation of the play? Press pause to do those 3 things on the slide. More exploration now, and for this, you're going to have to begin by reading Anka Vlasopoulos' Authorising History, Victimisation in A Streetcar Named Desire from Theatre Journal 38, 1986. Press pause to read it and unpause when you're done. The first thing I'd like you to do is to paraphrase it in your own words. Then I'd like you to answer these 2 questions. How does it open up the play for you in a new and thought-provoking way? How does it challenge your interpretation of the play? Press pause to do those 3 things on the slide, the paraphrase and the 2 following questions. It's the plenary now, and we're moving towards writing a main body paragraph that's AO1 plus AO2 plus AO5. That's a perspective analysis. Choose between Tony Kushner and C.V. Terry's interpretation, also to be found on your literary criticism resource. explaining why you have chosen it and the ways in which it illuminates the play. Go on to write a paragraph in which you incorporate a quotation from the interpretation into an exploration of an aspect of the play. There's a model that I'd like to go through with you now. It seems that Blanche and Stanley are continually vying for power throughout the play, neither content to concede the other's view. This clash is seen when Stanley challenges Blanche's handling of the selling of Belle-Reve. From Blanche's point of view, the sale represents the final stage of doom in a family history dominated by male patriarchal indiscretion and failure. Quote, "Our improvident grandfathers and fathers and uncles and brothers exchanged the land for their epic fornications. But to Stanley, it is a business deal gone awry," quote, under the Napoleonic Code. Interestingly, the words epic and Napoleonic both suggest a hyperbolic processing of a family disaster. But as Vlaspolos states, she begins to gain ascendancy over him when she uses a language to describe her past and the history of Belle-Reve that takes her out of Stanley's ken. Stanley may not appreciate fully the richness and debauchery of the Dubois ancestry, but his attempt to elevate his response to refer to a legal term is a feisty touche, albeit delivered awkwardly, quote, sheepishly. Let's break down what's going on in this model. It begins with a beautiful claim, very simply put, that Stanley and Blanche vie for power throughout the play. It is explained with some evidence suggesting that the authorial method here is hyperbole. And then, if you can see in the yellow writing section, is the student's attempt to grapple with the critical opinion, a perspective analysis. It includes a quotation from the critical opinion and then a comment based on that critical opinion, saying that although Blanche tries to respond in very elevated language, diffuse language, Stanley doesn't necessarily appreciate the richness of this view or the debauchery of the Dubois ancestry, but he realises that he has to, as far as he can, match this response. And he comes up with this term of the Napoleonic Code, a legal term. And from him, a simple working class man, this represents a feisty comeback, even though he delivers it somewhat awkwardly. So this is an example of how you can grapple with a critical opinion, something that Vlaspolos states, and develop it to show what you understand about what's going on here between Stanley and Blanche. You need to choose which of the critical opinion you want to engage with. You've got the choice of Tony Kushner or C.V. Terry's interpretation. You need to come up with a beautiful claim, evidence to support that claim, and then select from either Kushner or Terry's interpretation, and then develop your own perspective analysis using that interpretation and a quote from that interpretation as a springboard. Good luck. I hope you enjoy grappling with Kushner and Terry's interpretation and remembering all that you've learnt about constructing a main body paragraph, beginning with a beautiful claim supported by evidence, moving on to an authorial literary analysis, and then finally culminating in a perspective analysis using either Tony Kushner or C.V. Terry's interpretation. Please submit that according to the instructions on Show My Homework, and I'll enjoy giving you some feedback.